I'm really trying to pay attention to the triggers that I have for dissociation. At some point along the way, I learned to shut down emotions. I learned not to feel them. I don't know if it's just the way that my brain has always been. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. But I know they're in there. At some point, my body decided that it was not safe to feel things. That whatever emotion was there was too much, or otherwise not appropriate, not safe. And it just started shutting things down. The second something was felt, it just started to shut it down. I became aware of this first when I was 11, specifically, and my grandmother passed away. And my parents came to tell me, and they were both crying. And they told me, and I couldn't cry. I didn't cry. And they both said it's okay to cry. And I'm realizing now that's the first time I had ever heard that. That was the first time that I am aware that I had been told it's okay to cry. And at that point, I had already decided that I wasn't going to cry. And I didn't know why. There was no other awareness of why would I make this choice not to cry. It was because I didn't want to feel in that moment. Because I didn't feel safe to. Because I didn't understand how to process that kind of emotion. I didn't understand how to experience it. And because I didn't feel safe, at the age of 11, I told myself I wouldn't cry. And I stopped. I stopped crying. I don't really remember before that time what crying was like. A lot of my childhood memories are fuzzy. They had always been that way, even before the accident, if I'm being perfectly honest. My memories of childhood were sporadic at best. And then after the accident, I mean, it just became stronger. That sensation of disconnect from all of it. But I'm realizing now that my body learned very early that anytime there was a strong emotion, positive or negative, to shut it down. That it just wasn't safe to feel anything. It just wasn't safe to feel anything. To just be a robot, basically. To have no desire, to have no pain, to express nothing in either direction. To feel just nothing. Somehow that was the only answer. Somehow that was the safest thing. Crying didn't get me anywhere. Joy didn't get me anywhere. In terms of attention from caretakers, they were busy. They were busy. They were busy with other things, and whatever I was feeling appeared to be irrelevant. And so somehow I learned that the lack of anything generated more attention than either pain or pleasure in my expression. That there was more attention given to me when I exhibited a total lack of expression. And that was reinforced that day. When they said it's okay to cry. And perhaps I knew that on some deep level, that I would get more attention, that I would get their care by being empty, by feeling nothing. That would at least cause some level of concern to get them to pay attention to me, and then I might know that they loved me. And I'm not trying to blame them, I'm just being really fucking honest. Because I know they were in their own pain, and they were acting out their own trauma. But I have to be real about mine. That I never felt like they cared. One way or the other. They weren't mad at me, they weren't happy with me. I was just there. Might as well have been a lampstand. It's the way that it felt. Just in the background, and I know that they loved me. Now I know. And I know that they do. But as a child, I didn't feel it. I did not feel it. I was not aware of it. And I did everything that I could from the child's perspective, with the child's level of awareness and comprehension, to gain their approval, to gain their love, to know that they loved me. I did everything I could to get them to show that they loved me. And I learned very early that my brother was a stress to them. So I resolved to do everything the opposite of what he did. Because that made sense. That made rudimentary sense to me. If all of this behavior causes stress, then surely the opposite will cause joy, right? But it didn't. Not that I could tell. Or if it did, it was very short-lived. Because there was such focus on the stress of my brother, nothing changed that. And of their business and other things. There was so much stress, there was no room for joy. And of course, not much of it was expressed. My parents never shared their emotions with me. I only ever knew them by sensing and by eavesdropping. I did a lot of that. A lot of staying up and listening at the door. Just to know what they were feeling. Just to know what they were feeling. Because I never knew. So I learned to shut down my emotions the same way. To not express ever what I was feeling. Because not only was that modeled to me, it became the only way that I received any attention. Concern. Genuine concern. I certainly learned that crying didn't get me attention. And for a very long time, it was so hard to cry. It's gotten easier over the past year. But even now, it's still, I want to cry more. And I know that wanting it doesn't change it. It makes it harder, even. It's just judgment of it. It's more tension. It's more anxiety piled on top. It just increases the feeling of detachment and dissociation. But I want to. I want to feel. I want to fucking feel. That's why I stopped taking medication. Because all of the medication, I was depressed because I couldn't feel. And then I'm prescribed medication that's supposed to help with the depression, but all it does is numb things further. It just makes it worse. And I'm not demonizing medication. And certainly there's more than one kind of medication, and it's very effective for some people. And for a time it was effective at sort of just lifting the veil for me. But there was always this numbing. And it was the numbing that caused the anxiety and depression in the first place. What I wanted was to feel, was to have access to my emotions. That's why I stopped taking those pills that I had been on for 10 years. I stopped taking them last year. No, my doctors didn't know about it at the time. Yes, they know about it now. They're in support of it, in fact. I'm just seeing more and more how much of my life has been spent trying to feel, wanting to feel, but not allowing myself to, because of this deep conditioning. And of course, the more that I fight it, feeling the dissociation only increases the anxiety, which covers up, makes it feel like it's harder to get to anything else. And the only answer is to lean into it. Because the resistance makes it persist. I see that very clearly. I don't know. I love crying. I know how good it feels. I know how empowering it feels. It feels good to cry. It feels good to feel. Whatever it is. Pain feels good. Strong sensation of any kind feels good. But I know rejecting the experience of dissociating doesn't help it. And I know that even feeling nothing is still a feeling. It is actually something that I'm feeling. The feeling of nothing, the feeling of numb, the feeling, there's agitation. There is tremendous agitation in this. And I can just lean into that. I can get fucking pissed from here. In some way. I can just let it be. And I can let the contrast be clarity too. Knowing how much it sucks to feel cut off from emotion. That there is an intense desire there to feel. And I can focus on that. That my desire is right. I'm grateful to have clarity around it. I'm grateful to know it exists. I am mighty grateful for that. I don't know if I can walk myself all the way to feeling that the desire is the evidence of its fulfillment. But I can think that thought. I can at least include that in awareness. Whether or not I'm able to believe it in this moment. I can accept that what I'm feeling is what I'm feeling. Even if it feels like nothing. If I feel empty, then what I am is full of empty. I can know there's nothing wrong about my being, or my experience, or my expression. There's nothing wrong. I'm safe to feel this. I'm safe in feeling this. And that's where I gotta start, because I'm feeling this because I never felt it was safe to feel all the other stuff. So I gotta feel safe to feel this. I can at least give myself that. I can surrender here, where I am. This is where I am. This is what is. All I've got is the surrender to that. I'm gonna just eat this fucking burrito now. Just felt like rambling. Because I'm trying to watch this stuff happen, paying attention to it, learning more about it. It's hard not to judge it. It's hard not to be frustrated with it. I know those are just other parts of me. The true self, the soul, is delighting in all of it. Every expression, every moment. There's never a moment that I'm not loved. There's never a moment that I'm not loved and appreciated for being exactly as I am, for feeling exactly as I do or don't. There is never a moment that my being is perceived as wrong or inadequate or inappropriate. All of it is seen as right. All of it is delighted in fact. All of it is valued. All of it is cherished for being exactly what it is. I know that. I know that I'm loved and I'm held eternally. And that I am never alone. I know that too. Profoundly. I know other people have felt this. This is for me, but for anyone too who has experienced unwanted dissociation, particularly as a result of emotional neglect. I feel you. But all it takes to heal is the desire to. And there's no moment that we're doing it wrong. We get there. It's all allowed. And it's all okay. Exactly as it is. Alright, I gotta blow my nose now, and I'm gonna eat this burrito, and I'm gonna eat some fucking cupcakes. Because I can. Because I want to feel something. It's like you think I'm running from feelings. And food, I want to feel. I want to taste. I want to experience. I don't want to bury. I want to unearth. Maybe I'm running from the dissociation. I don't know. I'm just here. Feeling some fucking shit. And it's all allowed. Thank you for your witness. I got nothing else tonight. And I just don't. And that's okay. Because it's enough.